Hey guys, and welcome to Crazy Burger. So amazingly, it's that time of the month again. It's Game of the Month from Evercade for Indie Heroes Collection 3, which is coming early 2024. Without further ado, let's get started with this month's game. Okay, so this month's game is Orebody Binder's Tale. I think that's how you pronounce it. And amazingly, this is probably one of the first games of Game of the Month as part of Indie Heroes Collection 3 that I've not actually heard of, and I've not even played, don't know a thing about it. So maybe that's a good thing, I don't know. But let's have a quick look at some of the details. It's Happy October. I'm surprised we're not getting some kind of Halloween themed game. So this is obviously part of Indie Heroes Collection 3. We're getting a sneak peek of all the games coming as part of Indie Heroes Collection 3, which will be on cartridge in physical format in February 2024. So far it's been a really good collection of games that they've got on. So this one I'm not sure about, don't know a thing about it. It clearly looks like a NES style game. And it's apparently it's a kind of a run and gun style 8-bit game, much in the way of a little bit like Mega Man by the looks of it. There's a whole load of information there. There's obviously some links to the itch.io page. Now apparently this game is also available on Steam, where there is actually a Halloween themed free demo that you can play as well, which is kind of odd. But it's about £8.50 if you're interested in playing the full game. So the fact that this is going to be on a cartridge in physical form seems like quite good value. This collection really is going to be something else. Some amazing games so far. But yeah, there's a lot of information here. It clearly looks a bit like Mega Man, doesn't it? Very heavily inspired by that. But yeah, I think we'll have a quick browse through this, then we'll maybe jump onto the game. I'll give you my thoughts as usual. There's all the sort of control layout. There's some notes there you might want to pay attention to. Yeah, they've obviously got the button mapping completely wrong as usual. Nothing new there then. Interesting stuff. So yeah, it definitely looks a bit like an S Mega Man style game. But yeah, let's get stuck into it and we'll see what the game's actually like, and I'll give you my opinions as we go. So guys, sorry, just before we jump into the actual Game of the Month, I thought we'd maybe cover this in this video rather than making a big deal about it. We've got a cartridge update. The Evercade, there's a few Atari carts going to legacy status at the end of 2023. It's pretty much all the Atari collections. Atari Collection 1, 2, the Lynx collections, and Atari Arcade 1. So all of these, the licensing is basically run up, and Atari and Blazer obviously going to do their separate thing. Atari have got their new 2600 Plus coming out, and they're doing their own sort of physical thing, and the license basically running up for these carts, so they're going to go legacy. So if you're looking forward, if you've not got them yet, you should probably try and get them as soon as possible before they become stupidly expensive on eBay. But yeah, that's just a little bit of news about that. And also, if you follow about the Super Pocket, that's also been delayed by a couple of weeks to the middle, I think it's the middle of November that it's going to be released instead of October now, which is a little bit of a shame, but not massively surprising. Anyway, sorry guys, let's get stuck into Game of the Month. Okay, so here we have it on the VS. Now you can obviously play this on the EXP as well. You just need to update your firmware and you should be presented with Orebody Binder's Tale for October 2023. And you play the sort of little robot, I think it's called Binder. And you basically crash land. This is almost like a revenge mission. There is a kind of a story at the start of the game, and apparently there's going to be some collection of Orebody games, comics, movies, all that kind of thing. Pretty basic controls, fire and jump, and control the sort of robot. Very simple, straightforward stuff. And yeah, at this point in the game, press start to get past this screen here. Otherwise, you'll just sit there forever and just stare at that and listen to the music. And interestingly enough, Evercade get a little mention at the start here, so that's a nice touch. And this game was released, I think it was about a year ago now, at the end of 2022. I'm not sure how many formats it's on, but I know it is on Steam. There's a novice and advanced mode. There's also a boss rush mode if you want to practice defeating the bosses. And there's a little story at the start of the game here. I never really read much about it. It just seemed a lot of blah blah blah. Robots falling from the sky. Someone looks after them, fixes them up. Then someone comes and kills that person, blah blah. And thusly it becomes your mission to defeat that person, go through the levels and defeat the bosses through the entire game. I'm not entirely sure how long the game is, but I've seen sort of review on Steam saying it took them about 2 hours to complete maybe. So I'm not sure how many levels and bosses that entails, not entirely sure. But one thing, having played through this, it's certainly tricky. It's not one of those games you want to steam right through and just try and run through it. You can avoid the enemies if you want, but it's probably best trying to take your time, ducking and sort of taking out the enemies little steps at a time, so you don't go through so many lives, because there's no continues. Once you run out all your lives, the game will end and you will get sent all the way back to beginning again. So certainly one of the games you want to be using those save states as much as possible. Anyway, let's stuck into the actual game, Area 1. You can tell right away it does scream out very much like the Mega Man games. Although this is certainly not a Mega Man game, it seems very basic. That thing that's floating along the top of the screen, you can shoot that and it will give you some weapon upgrades of some sorts. Now, some of the weapons I picked up didn't seem to make a heck of a lot of difference. Some did, and you can obviously shoot in multiple directions kind of thing. But yeah, the gameplay seems pretty basic. Shoot, jump, and obviously you got these enemies just come randomly across the screen. You can avoid them or try and take them out. Some of them are defeated with a single sort of shot, and yeah, there's a mistake there. It's not down in A, it's down in B to go down, which is what Evercade were referencing in the actual preview on their website. But yeah, some of the enemies take a multiple hits, some take a one hit. But it sounds alright, the music's fine, the gameplay's alright, it's nothing special, it's nothing spectacular. It certainly seems like one of those games that's made on the NES Maker platform. So if you sort of played games like the Recnum game and Yeah Yeah Beavis 2 from Indie Heroes Collection 2, it's kind of like a mashup of those games, and it comes into something like almost like a Mega Man style game. It's certainly not bad, but it's not amazing. It feels very basic, it does get a little bit repetitive and very boring. And yeah, eventually once you get to the end of these stages you get some bosses to fight as well. But yeah, I would recommend highly take your time and save state as much as you can, because if you lose all those lives it does get a bit frustrating. You'll end up going back to begin again, and it's not really that type of game I want to sort of play over and over. It does get a little bit boring. And eventually, yeah, you'll get to the boss. You can shoot upwards, just take your time, have a little bit of patience. This one's pretty easy to get past. Okay guys, so that's the game of the month for October for your Evercade EXP and VS. It's not amazing, it's very, very average. Some people will probably like it and some will probably hate it, but it's certainly playable. Anyway guys, thanks for watching, catch you again in the next one.